it's Carolyn Zook here with C6 Stitch, and today is Saturday, January 21st, 2023. Welcome to my channel about cross stitch. I'm really glad that you are here spending part of your day or your evening with me. I realize in the background it looks like I have a music stand. It is not a music stand. It just looks like one. It's a platform that you can put your laptop on. I'm not using it yet. But I'm going to figure out a way to use that for filming sometimes. My folks got me that for Christmas, but I see that it looks very much like a music. I suppose you could use it as a music stand, but it's not a music stand. I did play instruments growing up. I played piano for, I don't know, a long time. And then I played clarinet through junior high and a year in high school, and then I quit. So, yeah, it's not a music stand. Anyway, welcome to my channel. It has been a very busy week. Classes started back up at the college that I teach at. So it's been busy. It's been good. It's been a good week. Good classes. I teach public health and I'm teaching an internship class. That's at my main job. And then on the side, just for fun and extra money, really, I'm teaching sociology of the family at a different university. That is a class that is entirely online. So I don't have to travel for that one. So it's all good. We are back in the swing of things. And it's really nice. It's nice to have that fun energy and buzz on campus at this point in the semester before everyone's like tired and stressed out. So that is what I was up to this week, was like, okay, wait, let me remember how to commute, prepare my lunch for the next day, all that good stuff. And, grading and prepping lectures and all that. So it's all good. I love my job, but that is what I've been up to this week. So I don't have any more of a weekly update other than that. It is 24 hours of cross stitch weekend. I am aiming to do 18 hours this weekend. So that is about 8 hours, because it starts on Fridays. It goes Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they are once a quarter. They are the brainchild of Jen Lee. You can find her on Facebook. I think it's just hashtag 24 hours of cross stitch is her Facebook page. But it's super fun. It's a nice challenge. I think I've only ever been able to do 24 hours one weekend, and that was when I was not working on Fridays. Ever since then, I have, my goal has been 18 hours, which is about 6 hours over the weekend, which is still way more than I would normally stitch. And that's a good enough challenge. Like, it's still challenging to me. I still get a lot done, even if it isn't the full 24 hours. So, I'll be talking about a little bit about that later on, but I did get my 6 hours in last night, which in some ways Fridays is the hardest because I work all day, and so it all has to happen in the evening. So, but I'll talk about that a little bit more. But first, let's get to our conversation that we had last week. We had kind of two main conversations going last week. One was about beading, and if you have a piece that has a lot of beads, when do you bead and how do you bead? And then the other discussion we started having was about counterfeit patterns and how you can tell and all of that. So for beading, thank you to all of those of you who shared with us how you bead, how you tackle something like a chatelaine or mirabilia with a lot of beads. So it seems to me that there are three main ways that people are going to tackle the beading. Now, I didn't get a clear consensus of, some of you do it as you go, some of you wait till the end and do it all. It seemed to split about 50-50 in when you bead, right? There's no right or wrong way. It's just a matter of personal preference. Some of you said I do it in hand. I do the beading in hand, which, if you stitch in hand, you can bead as you go. Some of you say I do all the stitching first, and then I take it off the Q-snap, the hoop, whatever it is I'm stitching on, and then I just bead in hand. Some of you said you stitch the whole project on scroll rods, and so then you can also bead as you go on scroll rods. There were a lot of comments about just making sure you put a piece of batting down. So the concern with all of this is about crushing the beads, right? A lot of the Mill Hill beads that we use or Delica beads, they're glass beads. And so they could crush under the pressure of, say, a Q-snap that's very tight and taut. Or it can make an imprint in your fabric if you aren't careful. So if you put a piece of batting kind of where you are rolling your scroll rods, that should help prevent, and people have said I haven't had any issues when you use like the batting. So that's something else. And then a few of you said, hey, I actually just put together, as long as the piece fits inside of the frame, you can create a monster Q snap, which is like a 17 by 17 inch Q snap. So really, really big Q snap. Now that's quite large, and I know not everyone will be able to comfortably hold that piece, which is where a scroll rod can come in handy because, like a lap stand or a floor stand, because it will hold it for you. But if you're able to hold it for you and your piece fits inside the 17 by 17 Q snap, that's another great option. For you. So I just thought that was interesting. There's a lot of different ways to do it. There's no right or wrong ways to do it. And I will certainly be sharing, when I get to that point on my charts, how I do it. I mean, I've done little pieces of beading, but never something as big as a chatelaine or a mira, but I am working on the cross stitch part of both of those. So we will see how we do when we get to that point. All this conversation about beading made me think, okay, this is insanity. But I talked about it with my friends, and they were basically like, what is wrong with you? Could you bead an entire height? I mean, aside from the sheer like insanity of it, is there any reason why you could not bead an entire height? Like, instead of doing the cross stitches, just do it all beads. Sounds like a fun challenge is coming up, doesn't it? I would start with a small one, right? Like one of the ornament sizes, like which are about like 9 by 9, or a story keep, which are small, just to see. My friend Andrea said, aren't those mill hill kits? Isn't that called a mill hill kit? I'm like, yes, but I mean just the whole chart, just beads. Let me know what you think. Would you go on this journey with me? Would you watch that journey? Anyway, so that was our discussion. So, Jay, I think you were the one who was asking about it last week. So I hope that helps. I always learn so much when you all ask questions and then we kind of put it out into the community and see what other people do. So I found that very helpful. So the other discussion that we had was about counterfeit patterns and how you can spot them and, kind of where you can find them or not, or avoid them, I guess is the best way to put that. So I was reminded that Joy Sunday, which is a company, is another big kind of counterfeit company. So if you see something from Joy Sunday, it is most likely counterfeit because they do not give credit or have license for the artwork that they are using. Dawn, my dear friend Dawn, mentioned that she got I can't remember if you said it was a kit or a chart from Hirschner's, and it was actually, she believes it was counterfeit as well. So which Hirschner's is typically a very trustworthy source. I asked Dawn if she followed up with the company. I just asked her, so I haven't heard back yet. But yeah, so that's kind of disappointing. And then Karen said that she found some charts on Pinterest, actually, that were like somebody had taken a picture of charts and posted it on Pinterest for free, even though those charts are still being sold. And so, of course, she said, I went right away and bought the chart from the designer. I think the designer was Doreen Jones. She's like, I went and bought those charts, again, to be legitimate. But yeah, so you just have to be really careful. Designers probably aren't going to post their charts on Pinterest, right? And even if a designer has a free chart, if they say, hey, this chart is free for anybody, you can tell a lot of floss tubers are still pretty careful with showing the whole chart, because the idea is that you want to drive people to go to their blog, their website, sign up for their newsletter, whatever it is where you can get that free chart, right? Because that helps engagement on their channel, on their page, their blog, whatever it is, or it gets them more subscribers to their newsletter, right? Which is why they do free charts when you sign up for the newsletter. So I always tend to go directly to the source, right? That is the safest way, the safest bet. Go directly to the source to get the chart, even if it's a freebie chart. So that's just kind of the ideas that were thrown around. I mean, I think most of us maybe have encountered a counterfeit chart, unfortunately, at some point, especially if you've been stitching for quite a while. So just be aware, and sometimes it will happen, but we can correct it by purchasing from the actual designer. Not supporting those sites that are doing the counterfeit work as well. So I just thought that was a really interesting discussion. So again, thank you all so much for your insights and sharing your personal stories with us as well. So let's get into the whips. I feel like I have a lot of whips because Bringo is still going. So what is today? Today's the 21st. So we have, 4 more calls. So we go through January 25th with the calls. So we are getting near the end. And then the last 6 days of the month, you have to make up any calls that you've gotten behind. For me, what I'm doing, so my Sunday pieces are winter montage this month, and so I'll be making up every Sunday at the end of the month. But I mean, technically, I've completed the number of hours that I need, because for Bringo, you only need 1 hour or 100 stitches. Well, whenever I stitch on my Bringo pieces, I'm doing like 3 hours. So technically, I can cross it off my Bringo board. And I have done that. I think I've done that, but I still want to get more work done on these pieces. So I'm just going to pretend, right, that, I have this makeup to do. So anyway, let's get into it. So first was stained glass window. And this is just cross stitch. This is in April 2021. This is what it looks like. This is designed by Tangled Threads and Things, and this is what it will look like when it's all done. And I'm stitching this for a gift for a friend, and this is where we are at. I stitched this for the prompt that reminds you of where you live, and I talked about how this reminds me of when I lived in Pittsburgh, and I got several comments of you, especially with my shirt that I wore last week, which was the Eaton Park shirt, which is a restaurant in kind of the mid-Atlantic, I guess. Somebody said they were from West Virginia, and they used to have Eaton Park as well. And everybody was like, why do they call it Eaton Park? Why not Park and Eat? And I completely agree. So anyway, so this is where I got to on stained glass window. So I kind of spent my time concentrating over here and bringing this down. You can see there's still some more of this like yellow and orange to fill in. And then we're going to be pretty close to starting on the cross, and there's a bunch of lilies down here, and then finishing up this border. So this is where we are at now. And I'll still be working on this this month at least one more time, if not more than one more time. So that's where we're at on stained glass window. Okay, next up was my 25/7 piece. Happy New Year. This is by the Victoria Sampler. This is what it will look like. I think it's beautiful. I'm up here on the second band here. And I am pretty much done with that second band. So that's exciting. So here is where I got to. So I finished up, I had to put the party hats on and finish up the confetti. And then there's a backstitch line directly underneath the band. And then there's like 3 lines of, kind of like design, right? Like it's not another like a scene. It's just like in between design. And I had it stitched. And then I realized I was like two blocks down. And at first I was like, oh, that's not going to matter. I'll just leave it. But then when I was looking at it, I was like, it does look kind of funny. So I took it all out and I'm starting to restitch it in. So there's some, kind of design bands. And then the next band or like scene will be this Father Time scene. So we'll see how far I get. I'm not sure. So you see this one too? That one looks like a lot of work because there's a lot of color changes in there. I bought the silk pack for this, and I don't really like working with these silks, as a matter of fact. They're beautiful. They are mostly Kreinik Mori silks, and I find them extremely difficult to work with. They are very light, They shred easily. Yes, even when I use one strand. I know a lot of you are going to be like, well, you're supposed to use it one strand, not two, Carolyn. Yes. I have struggled with these threads. I've used silk floss before, and these I mean, I have several of these kits that are kitted up, so I'm gonna make do. But yeah, I don't love working with the Kreinik Mori silk threads. It's just very, very finicky. It's so light you almost can't even feel it when you're like feel it when you're threading your needle. But anyway, the dancing scene is done, and so now I'm just kind of working down in this border. So this is my 25/7 piece, which is the brainchild of Melanie Watkins from Soulful Stitching. So you can join, it's called Cross Stitch 25/7. The idea is that you stitch on a piece for 25 minutes or 25 stitches each day. And this is my January piece because it's called Happy New Year. So at the end of like in February, I will switch my piece. So you might be getting tired of seeing Happy New Year. I don't know. Anyway, next up is Winter Montage. And so this is my seasonal Sunday piece. EJ's working on this. I think Handwork Maniac is working on this. Stitching Mommy's working on this as well. So this is what it will look like. This is artwork is by Janet Stever. It is designed by Pain Free Crafts. And I'm working on this every Sunday through March. And I just started it last week. So I don't have a lot of it done yet. But this is where I'm at. I wanted to get some greens in instead of just all this brown. So I did include some of those greens. But if you see EJ, so EJ's using the Janlin kit. So there's no background. So she's using like her fabric as the background color, which makes sense because this is going to be full coverage. So it's going. So it's just a little bit different way to do that. This one, I got 310 stitches in, and I am now at 0.45% done. 0.45, not even half of a percent done. But this is what's going to be really fun to see, I think, and watch it grow over the course of 12 Sundays. So we'll see. We'll see what we get done on it before we put it away. But this is where we are at. So yeah, so I did a little more fill in up here, and you could see this leaf kind of starting to show. And then there's some like background in between, and then there will be another leaf across. So I saw Stitching Mommy Sarah's, and she went down to put in the holly berries. So maybe I'll do that so that I know where that block kind of ends, because on all of these, I would like to focus like on the first block before moving over to this. Look how much stitching that block is going to be. That block is probably going to take me 2 years alone to do. But so you see these berries down here, these holly berries. And so I might so you can see that's kind of part of the leaf that I have just started. And so I might just kind of go down till I hit the bottom there. And I use Pattern Keeper to help me on these, and it's wonderful. But yeah, this is full coverage. So it's going to take a while. This is a journey, right? This is not a quick piece. I'm just stitching this on 32 count Lugana. And I think I mentioned last week, if I were to redo my Hades, I would actually probably do them on 32 count Lugana. I just really enjoy stitching over 2 threads because I use the pin stitch a lot, and I find it very difficult to do on Aida. I know it's not impossible to do on Aida, but I just find it significantly easier and more enjoyable to do it on Lugana. So, but I am not going to restart my Hades. So don't worry about that. I'm not going to restart my Hades. Anyway, so that was Winter Montage. And then, okay, I worked on a stitching shelf. This is Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Amy Stewart. I am doing the Max Colors version. I started this in August with a bunch of you. Kim from Stitching Stuff and Tina from Tina Stitches and we kind of are hosting, I guess, a stitch along. That reminds me, I need to post a picture. I'm terrible with taking pictures and posting them of my works. But anyway, we started this for World Cross Stitch Day. And so this came out actually 4 times this month, I believe. It was on my Bringo board. So this week I stitched on it twice as part of a series. which is kind of cheating, but I figure spring is one. I mean, they're all in the same chart, but this is spring, summer, autumn, fall, or autumn, winter. So I'm working on the spring part of the series, so that's how I made that work. And then largest whip. So this is by far my largest whip. This is 725 wide by 518 high. Should I bead the whole thing? I'm just kidding. I'm not. I'm joking. We're not going to bead this one. Anyway, this is on 18 count Aida. Why does it look backwards? Because I'm holding it upside down. Is that right? No. Oh, because it goes this way. Whew, I think I need another cup of coffee. Okay. So I did a lot more fill-in on this. So you could start to see some of these flowers coming in here. And if you look closely, you know, I've just kind of, my method is madness. So I just stitch. Like, I don't really do columns. I don't really do 10 by 10 squares. I don't know. I just carry the thread as far as I can go without worrying too much about cutting. I will say the nice thing about working on Aida is that counting blocks far away is a lot easier for me. Like, I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, but I'm less prone to make a mistake because I'm just counting one hole instead of two. But yeah, so this is where we're at. So I just kind of would work in here. So I kind of just go all over and then I go back and start to fill in, kind of using the typewriter method that Stitchy Mommy uses, which is like the highest stitch, and then I carry that as far as I can and then go to the next highest stitch. I sort of use that after I get to this point, like where I'm just kind of going, okay, I'll just start stitching in. So you can see up here in this part, this is all filled in. This whole area is all filled in, and you can see there's some open spots there that I need to do, but I really enjoyed stitching on this one. This is Max Colors, so I mean, there's a lot of color changes on this piece, and there's, I don't have all my threads prepped, so a lot of time was spent prepping the threads. But the first day I worked on this, I got 298 stitches done. And the second day I got 204 stitches done because it was a lot. I mean, it's a lot of confetti, right? I am now at 0.58% of the way done. Yeah, 0.58% of the way done with this one. And so this is really super fun. So I'm enjoying this a lot. And you can see I did carry down here quite a bit. So next time I pull this out, which I'm not sure when it will be. It'll be later this year, but like I'm going to continue working on filling in this kind of arbor on there and just see where it takes us. So that was really fun. I really, really enjoyed that. So that was actually on my Bringo board 4 times, and it's now complete. It will not come out again this month. Okay, next up was the prompt, a whip you dread. A whip you dread. One of my dreaded whips is Hearthside Christmas by Erica Michaels. Nothing against this chart. I think it's beautiful. I love it. We've kind of come to a compromise, this chart and I, right? Like when I made my Whipgo board, or my Bringo board, I definitely dreaded it. We're kind of in a rhythm now. I mean, this border on the outside is a lot of work just because there's so much of it. Someone said, well, I would have just done just do the top and bottom and leave off the sides, which is very smart, but I'm in too deep now because on this side, I already have it partway down. So anyway, so let me show you where I'm at. So what I did, you can see I still have a string. So what I did is I completed this top border, and you can see there's 2 snowflakes. So I turned the corner. I did do some of this line of border. I completed this border, which again was like all repeat. So that was a lot. And then there's a wreath right here, and I started on that. And you can see I still have it on the string. There's another border of holly leaves right here, but those are a lot smaller, so it shouldn't be too bad. I'm going to try to continue this technique of, doing some of the border and then going in and doing some of like the fun motifs. But we're okay now. Whip You Dread. This is Whip You Dread, and this is definitely, this is a on my year of whips, so I want to finish it this year. So we'll be seeing more of this. We'll get her done this year. I do love the finished piece. I really, really do. This is on a 32 count Lugana from Color and Cotton. I can't remember the color though. But if you want to know, let me know and I can track it down for you. All right. Next up, another piece that was called twice that I worked on is a Christmas celebration. And this is what prompted our discussion about counterfeit kits and patterns. This is a Dimensions Gold collection. The original kit that I bought was a counterfeit kit. So I rebought it and I wanted to restart it anyway because I wasn't loving the fabric. And, you know, I started this. This counted for my oldest whip and outdoor activity. This is the first kit when I came back to cross stitch in August of 2018. This is the first kit that I started. And I didn't know one about counterfeit kits. I didn't know how to measure my fabric appropriately to know if I had enough fabric in the kit or not. So I was like, I'm going to get this all done and run out of fabric. I don't know. It was just worth it for me to restart it. So I bought the Dimensions Gold kit. They have an Ada in there, which I am, again, just using. This is another full coverage piece. Again, I'm just using probably a 32 count white Lugana. And so this is where we got to. The little reindeer is upside down. Okay, this is where we got to. So I'm just working in the sky. You can start to see some trees kind of coming in there. And then this is like the chimney, and there will be a house in here. So we are getting there. I think this one has one more day to work on as well. So yeah, so it's going fine. It's full coverage. I am not, I mentioned this last week. I am not following the directions. Dimensions Gold Kit, the dimension comes from doing a mix of, why they're called dimensions, right? There's a mix of half crosses. There's a mix of 2, 3, even 4 strands. Some of them, I think some of you have said I had to do 6 strands. I am doing 2 strands for everything full cross because that is what I like to do. That is what I enjoy. My brain for half crosses, my brain has a really hard time with it. So for this piece, I just said, you know what? I'm just going to do it my way. I still think it will be beautiful. So that's where we're at on our restart. We are still nowhere near where I was on the last one, but that's okay. We're legitimate now, and I'm still enjoying working on this one. So that's good. Okay. Then the last piece that I have that I worked on, and this is for 24 hours of cross stitch. So my plan for 24 hours of cross stitch is I'm going to work 6 hours a day, which I did complete yesterday. Yesterday I worked on, I think it was Christmas celebration. Is that right? Probably. Yeah, I think it was Christmas celebration that I just showed you. And then the other 3 hours, so I'm going to do the Bringo call for 3 hours today. Tomorrow I'm going to do winter montage for 3 hours. And then the other 3 hours, I'm going to work on my heights. And this is, I think, how I'm going to do my 24 hours of cross stitch. So I worked on Cardinal Cottage. This is artwork by Donna Gelsinger and charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. This is what it will look like when it's all done. So my plan is January, and there's one in October. So kind of the fall winter months, I'll work on Cardinal Cottage. The April and July ones, I'll work on Cat Alphabet for my 24 hours, 24 hours of cross stitch. So I am up in here with the background, the trees, and all that. So I'm super excited to be giving this a good solid, hopefully 9 hours. Sorry about the thread. We're still in there. So anyway, so this is where we are. Again, I'm going through filling all this stuff in to make sure it's all solid, which it is. You can see we're starting to move over, starting to move across. I worked on this yesterday. My threads are all prepped, so I was able to get 365 stitches in, and I am now at 1.28% done. So it's not a lot, but it is over 1%. So can you even imagine when I'm like holding this up and being like, okay, I'm at 56% done. That seems so far away. But anyway, so I think this one will get a little more fun to work on when we get into like some of the, I mean, the background's pretty, but like I still, even looking at it far away, I really can't tell what's going on, right? I guess these are some trees and this is like your winter sky and all that, but it's still fun. And so I don't want to take this. So I was stitching till 1 a.m. last night. So I was starting to get a headache because I had done 6 hours from like 6 o'clock on, after working on my computer most of the day. So I was just kind of like, okay. But yeah, so we are filling in. I mean, we are getting filled in, which I really love. And it was really, really fun to kind of fill in some of these pieces and to know that this whole section now has no holes. And you could see like we're starting to go down, we're starting to go over. I'd like to focus more on going over, but we'll see. We'll see where the thread takes us. So that, my friends, is Cardinal Cottage. So we will be working on that, and then when I show it next week, I'll try to show kind of the before picture and the after working on it for 9 hours, so we can really get a clear. I'll try to be better about doing that this year, especially with the full coverage pieces, because sometimes it's like I can't quite tell where that's at. Okay, so let's go into giveaways. So giveaways. One, I was mistaken. So the Winter Rose Manor patterns, one of those is from my sweet friend Jessie. So she made a comment. She's like, don't worry, you didn't actually buy it 3 times. She's like, I gave you one of those, but you already had it. So thank you so much, Jessie. And so to the winners of the Winter Rose Manor chart, one of those is from Jessie. Also, I see that I have a lot of emails from the winners, which is wonderful. I have not replied yet because I've been having computer troubles. I've also been having a lot of phone issues. You know how like everything breaks at the same time. So I haven't been able to get in and like reply, but if you've emailed me, I have your email. I just need to reply. Okay, so I'm going to hopefully be able to get in there, and I'm hoping this week get those all sent out. Okay, I have a couple pieces of, I don't have any haul per se, but I have some Stitchy kindness. So, first up, I have this card. This is a card from Daleen from So Grateful, and it was in one of those envelopes from the, this poor dog got so ripped up, from the post office where it must have gotten jammed or something. So this is how it came to me, in one of those envelopes from the post office. But look at that. Maisie, I think is the name of the puppy. So this is really sweet. So thank you so much, Daleen. Very cute. And then I got this beautiful card. Beautiful. Isn't that beautiful? I love those flowers. And just a really lovely card from Patty. And then she also sent me, sorry about the crinkling, I'm thinking I wanted to keep it safe until it, so she sent me something she made. Oh my gosh, this is just, look at this biscornu. She made it for me. It's all in blues, my favorite color. I think it's just gorgeous. There's some Krynic. I don't know if you can tell how sparkly it is for the needle. There's thread and scissors. I mean, it's just beautiful. And then the back has some little design buttons for the back. I mean, this is just, Patty, thank you so much. This is just absolutely gorgeous. This made my day. And I'm going to put it on my shelf right up here. I'll do that right now, so that I can always see it and always look at it. It's just beautiful. So thank you so much, Patty. I really appreciated that. Just the thought and care that went into it. And it's blue, which I love. So thank you so much. Okay. That's it. That's all I have for haul. Saving my pennies for market that's going to be coming up in, a month and a half or so. Okay, let's talk about plans. And then I'm going to get some lunch and then get to stitching. So plans, I'm going to continue working on Happy New Year, 25 minutes a day or most days. I am not doing Happy New Year over 24 hours across stitch weekend. I'm going to take a little break, which is fine because I'm getting a little tired of it because I've worked on it every day, even if it's only for half an hour. But I will pick it back up for the rest of the month after 24 hours, so Monday, I guess. But I'll continue working on Happy New Year. Tomorrow I'll be working on Winter Montage for my seasonal Sunday piece. Like I said, I'll be continuing to work on Cardinal Cottage today and tomorrow. It will hopefully get about 3 hours each. And we are going to be finishing up Bringo. We are in the final days. Wednesday is the last call because Wednesday is the 25th. So today's call, I'll be working on stained glass window today, because for today the call is an indoor activity, and the stained glass window reminds me of a church, and you go to church indoors usually. It also counts for the I in the monthly acrostic for the same group, which is begin I for indoor activity. And then I'll be, like I said earlier, I'll be doing some makeup whips, even though I don't really have to, but I'm going to. One is Hearthside Christmas. I want to do it for something with words, and something sparkly. I think I put it on in good faith on my Bringo board, thinking like it has beads, it has Kreinik in it. But now that I look at it, I don't think it actually does. But I'm gonna go with it anyway, because it's sparkly, but it's not. I'm going to work on Winter Birds. That's going to be for the Bringo call of your choice, a whip of your choice, and whip with a bird. So Hearthside Christmas will get 2 days. Winter Birds will get 2 days. And then I'll have to make up whatever tomorrow's call is going to be, which I haven't called it yet. So a lot more stitching this week as well. Next week, I'm going to have a very special guest on my Flosstube, so you want to stay tuned for that. I think it'll be really fun, and I'll give you a hint. You already know her, and you love her. So that will be my special guest next week. And then next Sunday, several of you said that you were also going to be at the Acorns Gathering of the Nuts retreat, which is next Sunday. So I hope to see you all there. I'll be there in person, but I'm going to try to see if they will let us kind of like say hi to people who are on the Zoom call and see what you're stitching and working on, because I would love to see that as well. I'm looking around to make sure I got everything. Oh, do you want to see Winter Birds real quick? I did pull it out to show you, since I'll be working on it. So many of you have said that this is one of your favorite pieces that I'm working on right now, and I would agree. This is just such a beautiful design. This is by Twin Peak Primitives, Winter Birds, and I would like to finish this year. I'm working on this 2 more times. So we have a house here and another partial tree and then a border around. And if I don't finish, I probably won't finish it this month, but I plan to try to finish it in maybe next month or the month after. So that is our plan. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful stitchy week. If you're participating in 24 hours across stitch, I hope that you meet whatever your goals are, whether it's 24 hours or less. All right, everyone, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.